Hey everybody, welcome to Mat with No Props, the class where we're going to be spending the next 50 minutes doing a mat workout with no props. Today we're going to be focusing mainly on our hip mobility. So we'll be doing a lot of stuff for the hips, but don't worry, I won't leave anything else out. Go ahead and meet me on the mat. So first, we're going to start with our hip mobility test, which is to sit on the floor cross-legged and just get a sense of how useful this position is for you. And notice visually where your knees are. Are they open? Are they open the same amount? Or are they tucked up closer towards you? So just notice. And I always suggest doing it with the other leg crossed on top because this is usually our more difficult side. We don't naturally go there. And so just notice that. And then the second test is the mermaid sit or the Z sit. Take your legs off to the left. And what you want to find here, ideally, one day, is a nice level bottom. So you don't want to have all your weight over here in this right sits bone. You want to be able to anchor that left sits bone down as well. And you also want to try to be able to get your spine right up on top of your pelvis. So you're just as straight up as you are when you're sitting or standing normally. Now, that's asking a lot. We probably won't ever get there perfectly, but just figure out kind of where you're at today. Notice if you feel more tightness in this left leg, which is internally rotating, or this left leg, no, I'm sorry, I got that wrong. The left leg is internally rotating. The right leg is externally rotating. So just notice. And we're going to try the legs to the other side too. So when you're ready, flip them over. This side might feel completely different. We're looking for as much evenness in our sits bones as possible, as much ease having our spine straight. And then notice the internal rotation on the right side and the external rotation on the left side. And if you can, remember what this feels like for at the end of class. All right, let's get started. Lie down on your back. And this exercise is easier to do on a carpet or something that's not a sticky mat. If all you have is a sticky mat, it's fine, it will still work. But if you have a carpet, scoot off and use that for this. We're going to open up those hips. So you can just take your arms wherever you want them, down by your side, on your low belly, and reach the right leg long. Try to slide it on the floor. And then externally rotate that leg open. So we're turning the hip, knee, and foot out. Pull your heel right back in underneath your sits bone, and then close this right knee so the kneecap's facing up towards the ceiling. Slide your leg long. Turn the leg open. Slide your leg back in. Close the leg. Keep going with that. Out, open, in, close. If your pelvis is tipping to the side a little bit, that's okay. You don't have to focus too much on the stability of your pelvis now. That will come later. All I want you to do is just find the smoothest motion you can make. And hopefully that starts to get easier to do as that hip warms up. Okay, we're going to reverse it now. So if you're in the straight leg position, pull your heel in towards your sits bone. Let your knee flop open to the side. Reach that leg nice and long. You're in that externally rotated position, and then rotate your leg back so it's neutral. Pull the leg in. Open the knee out. Slide the leg long. Turn it back in. Keep at it. One more time or so on this side. And then next time you have your right kneecap pointing up towards the ceiling, switch right on over to the left side. Slide your leg long. Open it out. Slide it back in. Close it up. Notice if this side feels different. And reverse the direction. Remember, your pelvis doesn't have to, you don't have to worry about keeping your pelvis still. Just a couple more. And next time that left knee is pointing straight up towards the ceiling and your feet are on the floor, you can end there. Take your hands behind your head with your elbows open out to the sides. Cradle your head so your head is staying nice and relaxed in your hands. As you exhale, tuck your chin towards your chest. Fold at the rib cage. Let's curl up into a chest lift. Look down between those knees. Nothing should change in your neutral spine. So your low back should be light. Your tailbone should still be heavy. And then lower back down to the floor. Do it again. Exhale, lift up. Fold at the ribs. Inhale, come on down. A few more just like that. And now let's add in the legs. So keeping the pelvis level, reach the right leg out towards the wall in front of you as you're curling your head, neck, and shoulders up. And then return to start. Head, neck, and shoulders up. Reach that left leg out long. And now we're trying not to tip or move the pelvis at all. Keep going, switching from leg to leg each time you come up. Really reach that leg. Make sure it's super active. Let's add in the twist. So right shoulder up and over towards the left hip. Right leg reaches. Come down, go to the other side. Left shoulder up and over towards the right hip. Left leg reaches. Come down, keep switching back and forth. You're twisting from the torso, not the shoulders. Whichever side you're on, hold it nice and strong for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower down, switch to the other side, hold it up there for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it down. Let's hold the first side again for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last side. One more time for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower everything down. Pull your knees deep into your chest and just rock your knees side to side. Plant those feet down on the floor. Palms up towards the ceiling, shoulders open, shoulder blades on your back, or fronts of the shoulders open, shoulder blades on the mat. Use your belly muscles to initiate a bridge. Start rolling up, reach those knees out long towards the wall in front of you, lift the hips up high, keep the rib cage heavy. And then slowly roll it down. Let it go again. Roll up and down a couple times. Just waking up your spine, getting it to move. Next time you're up, stay up. We're going to do heels and toes. So up in that nice high bridge, knees pointing forward, hips lifted, rib cage heavy. Lift the fronts of your feet, so the toes and the balls of your feet. Lift them up, place them down, lift up your heels, place them down, lift up your toes, place them down, lift up your heels, place them down. As you're going from one to the next, try to keep your hips high and level. So try to really decrease that up and down in the pelvis. It takes a little bit of focus, a little bit of control. A few more. And then place both feet completely down on the floor, roll down your spine. And then roll back up. This time we're doing hip dips. Hips are high, rib cage heavy, Try to keep even weight in your feet, even weight in your shoulders. Dip your hips to the right. Lift them back up to that nice high point. Dip your hips to the left. Lift them back up. Dip and lift. Keep going. Always returning to that nice high level bridge before you dip to the other side. Check in with your feet and your shoulders. Try to minimize the amount of shifting back and forth between those two areas. And find center. Roll down. Nice and slow through your whole spine. Pull your right knee into your chest. And you're going to keep the left foot on the floor for right now. Just keep pulling your right knee in. And you'll feel that stretch. You might feel it a lot. You might feel it a little. It depends on where your tightness is. But you might feel it in the back of the right hip. Then we're going to change this stretch. Press your left foot into the floor. Keep pulling your right knee in towards you. And it's almost like you just do the very first part of the bridge. So you lift just your sacrum up off the floor. And you're pressing into your left leg. You should feel that now in the front of your left leg. Not so much in the back of your right leg. And then rock away from it. So pelvis comes back down to the floor. First, just pull the right knee towards you. Nothing much going on in that left leg yet. And now press that left foot into the floor. Lift your hips slightly up off the ground. And hold that. Roll it back down, back off. One more time, both stretches. First, pull just the knee in. And then shift your focus over to the left side. Press into your foot. Lift the hips. And come back down. Let's switch. Right foot comes to the floor. Left knee hugs in. Right foot and leg are not doing anything yet. Now press into the right foot. Lift your pelvis up just a little. Lower down. Back off. Pull just the left knee in. Hold it there. And then press your foot into the floor. Lift up. Roll it back down. Back it off. One more time. Just the left knee. Then press. Lift the pelvis. Feel that right side. And back it off. Both feet to the floor. We're going to do our ankles in and out, in and out, in and out. So pick up the fronts of the feet, pivot them out, place them down. Pick up your heels, pivot them out, place them down. Keep doing that really fast. Once you get nice and wide, come back in. Toes in, heels in, toes in, heels in, toes in, heels in, toes out, heels out, toes out, heels out. Keep going. Go faster than you think possible. Even faster. A few more times. And the next time your feet are wide, stay wide and relax. Drop your, let's switch direction. I'm playing it risky today with my rights and my lefts. Let's drop the right knee in towards your midline. So that right leg internally rotates. The knee comes down towards the floor. If you can get it to touch the floor, great. If you can't get it to touch the floor, let that be your goal one day. Your right hip is definitely lifting up away from the floor, but try to keep your right shoulder heavy on the floor. That way, not only are you getting a nice hip stretch, but you're also getting a nice gentle spine stretch. And lift that right leg up so the kneecap's pointing towards the ceiling. Drop your left knee in towards your midline. Try to get that knee as close to the floor as you can. Notice if there's a difference side to side. And lift it. Lower the right. Lift, lower the left. Just keep going back and forth. Last one. And walk those feet back in so they're hips distance apart and parallel. Find that neutral spine, heavy tailbone, light low back, heavy rib cage. Maintain it. Lift one leg up to a tabletop position and then the next. Okay, so we're going to do our toe taps with the external hip rotation. I'll talk you through it nice and slow and then you can pick up the pace. And so first start reaching your right foot down towards the floor. Tap your toes or your heel. And then as you start lifting that leg back up to start, stop about halfway up and then open that right knee away from you so you're externally rotating in the hip. And then tap the foot down to the floor again. You're going to hit the side of your foot. And then bring that leg all the way back up to start. Left leg, tap it down normally first. And then about halfway up, pause, rotate it open, tap it down again. Lift it all the way back up to start. Keep switching side to side. Right foot taps, right foot lifts, right leg opens, right foot taps. And then once you've got the movement going, now focus on the stability in your torso. So nothing in your torso should be moving except your breath. Do a few more. This one can be your last one. Bring both knees up to tabletop. Hug that right knee deep into your chest like you did before. Only this time, take your left leg stretched out long on the floor. Flex or point your left foot, whichever position feels like a better stretch on your left side. If you even get a stretch on your left side, you might not. Try to keep that left thigh pressing down towards the floor as you keep pulling that right knee in towards you. And then hug your right knee over towards your right shoulder. And then hug your right knee over towards your left shoulder. So that right hip can come up off the floor. Try to keep the right shoulder blade down on the floor. And then hug your right knee to center one more time. And switch. So the right leg gets to go long, and we're going to either point or flex, your choice. Left knee comes in, hug it in nice and tight. Try to press that right thigh down towards the floor. Open your left knee over to the left shoulder. And then hug that left knee over towards the right shoulder. Left hip comes up, left shoulder stays down. Hug your left knee to center one more time. And then switch, pull your right knee in, lengthen your left leg all the way straight down on the floor. Switch again, left knee pulls in, right leg straightens, down on the floor. Switch back and forth a few more times. And we're going to take this into single leg stretch in a moment. Just get that feeling of how you're pulling one leg in and reaching one leg long. We want to keep that as we pause whichever side you're on. Curl the head, neck, and shoulders up. Lift that straight leg up a few inches off the floor. Try to keep your torso still, except for your breath. And then keep switching your legs back and forth. One pulls in, one reaches long. Head is staying lifted with those upper abs. Shoulders are staying pretty still. There's not a lot of bobbing back and forth. Hold this one for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Switch and hold this side for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take your hands behind your head. Pedal your legs like you're riding on a bike. Lots of movement in the hip joints, but we're trying to keep the pelvis still. Reverse. And then we're going to move into the crisscross. So right shoulder towards the left hip, right leg long, and switch. And switch. Remember, you're twisting from the torso, not the shoulders. And we're still keeping that pelvis level. Hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Switch this side. Hold it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back to the first side. Hold it strong. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back to the second side. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pull both knees in. Lower your head to the floor and just rock side to side. Okay. Take your hands, place them underneath your sacrum. Your hands are going to be in a little bit of a triangular position just to give you a little extra support. We're going to have both legs long in the air, so that means the legs get way heavier. So just a little extra support. This is going to put your pelvis into more of a little bit more of a tucked position, and that's okay. Just keep it that way. Don't let your pelvis rock. Let's get those legs up towards the ceiling. And then press the legs away from you a little bit. So they're not going straight up towards the ceiling. They're kind of going up at an angle, a little bit more towards the wall in front of you. And there's no exact right answer for where your legs should be. Point those toes. Open your leg, or externally rotate your legs so your heels are touching. Your inner thighs are trying to squeeze. Open your legs wide. Flex your feet. Squeeze those inner thighs together. Point. Open. Flex. Squeeze, point, open, flex, squeeze. Keep going. So if your legs are at a bigger angle, so closer to the floor, it's gonna be way harder on your abs. If your legs are more towards the ceiling, more upright, it's gonna be harder on your legs. So any placement is correct. Watch your shoulders. They love to start tensing up on this one, especially because our hand placement. So just try to relax those shoulders and breathe. Couple more. Next time those heels come together, keep them together. Bend your knees, pulling your heels, that's right, in towards your center and towards your belly button. And then press those legs away from you. Squeeze the inner thighs together. Bend your knees, pull those heels in, and press those legs straight, nice and long. Keep it up. Two more. And then you can bend your knees into your chest and rock side to side. Okay, roll over to your side and come on up to sitting. We're going to go back to that mermaid position, but we're not testing our progress yet. As a matter of fact, don't worry about trying to get your hips level, because rather than staying sitting like this, we're going to add a twist and get a little bit more hip movement. So as we twist to the right, I want you to press that left hip forward as much as you can. Try to open up that fold right where your leg and your torso meet. Try to open it up, twist towards your right. And then sink your femur bone deep into that hip socket. You're going to get a big fold there. Twist to your left. And then twist to your right, pressing your hip forward. Twist to your left, sinking your hip backward. One or two more. And then flip your legs over to the right. We'll do it again. You can get right to it. Notice if it feels different on this side. And finish up. Come to hands and knees. Curl your toes under and press your hips up into a downward dog position or a triangle position with your body. And then try to reach your heels towards the floor. They might not, probably won't touch the floor. Bend one knee, reach the opposite heel down, and then bend the other knee, reach the opposite heel down. And just keep switching back and forth. You're going to feel really good stretches in the back of the leg that's reaching down towards the floor. Two more. And then come back down to your knees. Take your left foot forward. And lunge forward. Lowering those hips down. You're going to feel that the right leg is going to start straightening. You're going to lose that deep fold in your hip crease. So it's going to open up. It's going to give you a nice stretch in the front of the right hip and the back of the left hip. And then start walking yourself back. You're going to be moving your tush towards your back heel. Your left heel stays on the floor. Your left toes can come up. And then that stretch is going to get into the back of your left leg. Shift back forward into the hip flexor stretch. Hip flexors on the right side. And then shift back into the hamstring stretch. Hamstrings on the left side. You can move back and forth between these at your own pace, and you can, if one feels like something you need more today than the other, you can definitely feel free to hang out in that stretch longer. And when you're ready, we'll switch legs. So left knee will be on the floor. Right foot will be forward. Lunge yourself forward. Straighten that left hip. Lunge it back. Stretch the right hamstrings. You might feel the right lower leg too. Sometimes those go together. And just like the other side, lunge forward and back at your own pace. Feel free to hold one of the stretches if you really need it more today. And then go ahead, untangle yourself. Bring both knees to the floor, both hands to the floor. Reach your left leg out long behind you, and then pick it up and arc it up and over your right foot, and then bring those left toes down to the floor. It's a lot of words for a simple movement. We're just taking that left leg, we're arcing it up and over, and reversing. Trying to keep as much stability in your body as possible so you're not moving that torso around a lot. And now the next time your left toes are up and over on the floor, over on the outside of your right foot, keep them there. Take a side bend to the right. Try to look at your toes if you can. Come back to center. Both knees to the floor. Reach your right leg back. Pick your right leg up and arc it up and over so the toes land on the outside of the left foot. Lift up and over. And the next time those right toes are over to the left side, side bend over to the left. Return to hands and knees. Take your knees really wide, press yourself down into a child's pose. And if you want, if it's more comfortable for you, you can rest your forehead on the backs of your hands. And as best you can, just sink down between those legs so you're getting a really good hip stretch here. Here for just a few moments. I'll be nice and quiet so you can focus in on releasing and breathing. When you're ready, move forward so you come onto your belly. And you can be up on your forearms. We're going to do the Spider-Man stretch. Pull your left knee up towards you, and you're going to side bend over to the left a little bit as well. So just slide that left leg up like you're Spider-Man crawling up a building. And then as you lengthen that left leg long, switch and bend the right knee. Keep switching back and forth. It could be a nice fluid motion. And whichever side you're on, hold it there and come on down so your head is resting on the mat or just on your hands. Make it comfortable. And we're going to hang out here for a few moments. That leg a little bit up closer towards you for a deeper hip stretch. Feel free to try that. And then switch to the other side. And then lengthen both legs out nice and long. Rest your forehead on your hands. We're still on our belly. All right. Try to pull your belly button up off the floor. Press those hip creases straight down into the mat. So it's just like when we're doing a bridge and I tell you to press the hips up, 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 up. Same movement. We're just going towards the floor instead of the ceiling. Then lift your right leg, but initiate the lift from your hamstring, so the back of your thigh. Let your lower leg and your foot just go along for the ride. Lower down, lift the left thigh up. Lower down. Keep going back and forth. Try to maintain the even weight and the connection between your hip creases and the mat. So shifting side to side. Now that you've got the action coming from your thigh, you can wake up your foot a little bit. Reach the foot towards the wall behind you. So the lift is coming from the upper leg. The reach is coming from the lower leg. Whichever leg is up next, hold it there. 10 quick but controlled pulses up and down. No movement in the pelvis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Leave it lifted. Take it out to the side. Squeeze it back in. These are slow, not pulses. Out to the side. Squeeze it in. And next time that leg is right in underneath you, keep the length from the lower leg, the lift from the upper leg, and make about 10 circles each direction. You can count your own. Smooth, perfect circles. When you're done with both directions, lower that leg down. Pause for a moment. And then lift the other leg up. Lift from the hamstrings. Even weight in both hip creases. Pulse this leg 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hold it up. Reach it long. And then take that leg out to the side. Squeeze it back to center. Out and in. Squeeze it in, keep it in, 10 perfect little circles each direction. And when you're done with that leg, lower it down and just wiggle side to side in the hips. Let everything go. Press yourself back into another super wide kneed child's pose. Rest your forehead on your hands. And take about 4 or 5 deep mindful breaths. Whenever you're ready, roll up to sitting and come on down to your right side. You can choose whatever upper body position you want, but today I want you to really focus on the mobility in the hips, the stability in the pelvis. So if the upper body work is interfering, then change your position. Alrighty, here we go. Lift the top leg up, squeeze it down. So the way down should be a lot harder today. You might have to use your imagination a little bit. I like to think of there being one of those resistance circles between my ankles. Squeeze, and then slowly release. Squeeze, slowly release. To keep the kneecap and the toes pointing straight forward, so there's no rotation in that hip joint. We're in our nice neutral leg alignment. Now, keep that leg lifted to hip height. You can keep your foot flexed or pointed, or you can change. Just do something with your foot the whole time. Bring your leg forward. Press your leg back. Try to find as much movement in this hip joint as you can without letting your torso move forward or backward. And try to keep that leg at hip height the whole time, which is harder than it sounds. And then press your leg back behind you, really press from the hamstrings, and then draw 10 circles from the hamstrings or from the femur bone. 10 circles each direction, that is. Reverse. Whenever you're done with circles in that direction, reach that top leg to the back corner of the room. Try to get that foot all the way to the floor. We want this top leg to relax. And then take your top arm, reach into the front corner of the room, and just move your bottom arm out of the way. It's going to be kind of awkward wherever it goes. Just do your best to get that bottom arm comfortable. So you have a nice full stretch through the left side of your body, from your left fingers down through your shoulder, down through your torso, especially through that hip area, and then all the way down to the left toes. And then come back up to your side. If you were propped up on your forearm, now it's a good time to come down to a slightly lower position. Line yourself up. Then slightly externally rotate your top leg. So instead of your kneecap and your toes pointing straight forward, they're now kind of angled up towards where the ceiling and the wall meet. Bend your top knee and pull your top foot up the inside of your bottom leg. And then reach that top leg long. You still have that external rotation. Flex your foot, press that heel down. Drag your foot up the inside of your bottom leg. Reach your leg nice and long. Press it down. Keep going. Now, there most likely is going to be a little movement in this pelvis. I've yet to see one perfect when it's not a ballerina. But try to keep it to a minimum. Have your intention, your goal to be keeping the pelvis stacked and still, and work from there. Couple more. Next time your legs are both long, you can rest. Take the rotation out of that top leg. So turn the kneecap and the toes back facing forward. Bend your knees, pulling them up into the side sitting position for our clam. We're going to do the combo clam today in a bunch of different leg positions. So first, stack your hips. You can keep your top hand on your top hip to remind it. Open your knee. And then as you're closing your knee, open your foot. Foot to foot, knee to knee. Keep rotating in that hip joint, trying to keep as much stability in the pelvis as possible. And then lengthen the legs just a little bit. Keep going. Lengthen the legs a little bit more. Keep going. And lengthen the legs all the way. Nice and long. Pick the top leg up to hip height. Pedal your bike. You can use your top hand to help you balance, or you can bend your bottom leg to help you balance. You have some choices. And just try to get as much movement in that top hip joint as you can, while maintaining as much stability through the torso as you can. Reverse it. And then reach that top leg long. Now everybody bend their bottom leg, just to get out of the way. That top leg, or the top foot, reaches down to the floor, so you might feel a little bit more of a stretch here on the side of the leg. Just hang out there. And then bend your top knee, reach behind you, grab your top foot or your ankle, whatever you can grab. And at first, have your knee right out underneath your hip. So your femur bone is parallel to the floor. Flex your foot, so there's lots of activity going on in that foot. And then if it's okay on your knee, pull this top leg back just a little bit. And if it's still okay on your knee, you can go back just a little bit further. And release it down. All right, notice which leg is on top. Roll it to your back. And take that top ankle over your bottom knee. I think we all have our right foot on the floor and our left knee bent, so I'm going to go with that. So we're going to keep that right foot on the floor, press that left knee away from you gently towards the wall, and then release it. And press it away from you gently, and release. Your spine can move, your pelvis can move, anything can move. And then, now keep your pelvis more still, more stable. Take your left foot, thread it underneath your right leg. Place the side of your left foot on the floor. without letting your pelvis tip, open your left knee down towards the mat. And it's going to be a really deep hip opener. Only go as far as you feel comfortable. Go slow. You might be able to go further than you think. But just keep in contact with your body. And hold it there. And then you can either stay holding it there or you can come in and out of it. So you can lift that left knee up a little, then open it out a little. Last one. Now take your left ankle, cross it over your right knee again, just like we had it before. Pull your right knee in towards you. And then you can either hold it here, or if there's any variation of the number 4 stretch you like to do, you can go ahead and do that now. And we'll stay here for another moment or two. And then transition to your other side. We'll do it all again. Okay, so for the first few, you can have any upper body position you want, as long as that does not get in the way of the focus on your hip mobility. Go ahead and lift and lower. Remember, we're trying to squeeze that pretend resistance circle. So the work is on the way down. Couple more. And then keep this leg lifted to hip height. You can do whatever you want with your foot as long as you're doing something. Bring that leg forward, press that leg back. Forward and back. Lots of stability here in the upper body. Try to keep that leg at hip height the whole time. And then press your leg back, keep it there, draw circles with your femur bone. Let your foot just follow along. About 10 in each direction. Once you've done 10, reach that top leg as far back behind you as you can. Get those toes on the floor. Reach your top arm as far in front of you as you can. Get your bottom arm out of the way. Stretch through your whole right side. And then come back to your side. This time, if you were propped up before, come all the way down. Hips are stacked, rib cage is stacked. I think we're gonna go in the same order as before. Rotate this top leg open so your kneecap and your toes are pointing more up at a diagonal. Pull your foot up the inside of your bottom leg. Reach that top leg long. Flex it, press it down. Try to keep the movement in your pelvis to a minimum, knowing that it most likely won't be perfect. We're trying to hold on to that external rotation the whole time. Couple more. And then bend both knees into the side lying position. And you can take that rotation out of that top leg. All right, here we go for the clam. Hips are stacked and still. Let's open the top knee and then open the top foot. See if one direction is more challenging for you. It's typically the case. When you get a chance, lengthen your legs a little bit. Keep going. And then lengthen your legs legs a little bit longer again. Keep going. Lengthen your legs all the way now. Reach that top leg up to hip height. Pedal your bike. Who's gonna win? And reverse. That's just my mechanical hip making all those beeping noises. All right, now bend the bottom leg, reach that top leg nice and long, bringing the top foot all the way to the floor, and you should get a little stretch here in your side. And then lift your top leg back up, bend it, and grab your foot or your ankle. Try to get your femur bone parallel to the floor, so you don't want that knee pointing up. You want that knee pointing straight to the wall underneath you. And then flex your foot. So you get that foot active, and then as long as your knee is okay with it, you can pull this top leg back behind you. Go slow, keep in contact with your knee. And then release it. Roll to your back. Right ankle over the left knee. We're going to keep the left foot on the floor for a moment and open that right knee away from you, and then let it come back towards you. And then keep your pelvis still. Take that right foot under your left leg. You're on the side of the foot. No tipping in the pelvis. Try to open your right knee towards the floor as much as you can. And then you can either hold it there or you can come in and out of it, your choice. If you can remember, compare this to the other side. And then take your right ankle, cross it over your left knee again. This time your left leg is going to pull in towards you for the number 4 stretch. If there's a variation you like, better than the regular old one, regular old number 4, you can feel free to do it. And the last thing we need to do is just to compare the starting positions we did. So come on up to sitting and sit with your legs crossed. And notice if it feels any different, if it feels any more comfortable, if it feels any more easeful, if it feels more balanced. Notice whatever you can. And of course, switch so the other leg is on top. Second side is always a little bit more awkward. See if you can remember what it felt like at the beginning. And then the second position we did was the mermaid sit or the Z sit. So both legs to the left. One day we want to try to get both sits bones evenly on the floor with a nice, tall, comfortable spine. We shouldn't feel like we're fighting to get back to center. We should feel like center is easy. And notice the different rotations in the hips. And then switch to the other side. And notice that. If you don't feel a ton of progress just from one class, don't worry. It's a work in progress all the time. Thanks so much for stretching out your hips with me today, and I'll see you next time. Bye.